Hello dear students, very good morning. So welcome back to the online education of class 7 science. Dear students, in the previous class I was discussing regarding the vegetative propagation in bryophyllum and vegetative propagation in the ginger, garlic and the potato. Okay, so regarding that we have studied about the vegetative propagation, reproduction in the plants by asexual reproduction. Okay, so dear students, let us continue the remaining part of the asexual type of reproduction. The first type is vegetative propagation and next type is by budding. Okay, so budding is the process of reproduction in smaller organisms. Okay, so it is a kind of asexual reproduction. Okay, so we have already studied about the small organisms like yeast, which can be seen only under a microscope. So we have heard about the yeast. So regarding that we have studied in the previous lessons also. So yeast is the smallest microorganism which can be seen only under a microscope. So these yeast can grow and multiply every few hours. Okay, every few hours they can grow and they can multiply their number if the sufficient amount of nutrients are made available to these organisms. Okay, so as the yeast is a single celled organism. Okay, so now in today's activity, let us see in today's activity 12.3. So let us see the demonstration of how we can show the budding process, reproduction in yeast by budding process. Okay, so what we need to do in this activity, let's see. Okay, so we have to take a piece of cake. So what we need to take, we have to take a piece of yeast cake or a yeast powder. So it is available in the market. Okay, yeast cake or yeast powder we have to take. So that yeast cake or yeast powder we can get it from a bakery or a chemist shop. So we have to take a pinch of yeast. What we need to take, we need to take a pinch of yeast and we need to place, okay, we need to place it in a container with some water. Okay, so put that pinch of yeast in a container, okay, vessel with some water. So add some spoonful of, okay, some amount of spoonful of sugar, okay, to that solution and shake to dissolve it. Okay, so you need to shake it to dissolve that solution. So you have also added the spoonful of sugar to it. So keep it in the warm part of the room. So you have to place it in a warm part of the room. Okay, so after 1 hour we have to put a drop of this liquid on a glass slide. So whatever the liquid solution you have made now, by keeping a pinch of yeast and putting a spoonful of what sugar, and we have shaken it with the water, and so it became a solution. Now you have to take little drop of this liquid on a glass slide. So that, let me show you the glass slide. So when regular class starts, let me explain that what is the glass slide and why it is used. Okay, so glass slide you have to take, it is available in the science lab, and you have to observe under a microscope. You have to place that glass slide under a microscope and you have to observe it. So what do we observe is, you will see that the formation of new yeast cells. We will see the formation of new yeast cells. Okay, they are formed here. New yeast cells are formed, that we can observe here. Okay, so let us look at the figure 12.5. So this is what reproduction in yeast by budding. See, this is the yeast cell. Okay, so what happens here, when you give a time by and provide in sufficient nutrient, suppose a spoonful of sugar you are putting, it is a nutrient for that yeast to grow. So that will form a bud. Yeast will develop a bud in that. So that bud only becomes new bud. Okay, so like that a chain of buds are formed one above the other, like this. Here you can see in the diagram. Okay, so you will see that a chain of buds are growing here. Okay, so you can observe the chain of buds formed, so that from each new bud another new young individual is formed. The chain of buds are formed. So the small bulb like projections, see here you can see the small bulb like projections which are coming out of the yeast. Out of the yeast these bulb like projections are coming. So these are called what? A bud. So this is called a bud. This is called a bud. Okay, so the small bulb like projections which are coming out of the yeast cell, they are called bud. So these are all buds. Here you can see. Okay, so the bud gradually grows and gets detached from the parent cell. So this bud gradually goes on increasing in size and gets detached from the parent cell. Okay, it gets detached from the parent cell. Okay, and forms a new yeast cell. Finally it forms a new yeast cell. Okay, so the new yeast cell grows, matures and again produces more yeast cells. Whatever the new yeast cell which is produced, which is detached from the parent cell, that will also grow, that matures, get maturity, and again it starts producing more and more yeast cells. So this is how the yeast reproduction takes place rapidly. Sometimes another bud arises from the bud, forming a chain of buds. See, already one bud is formed here, so we'll see that one bud is forming. So above that one more bud starts arising from that. Above that one more bud starts arising. We can see a chain of buds forming. Okay, so if this process continues, a large number of yeast cells are produced in a short time. If like this, the cyst production, large number of yeast cells are produced. If this process continues, large number of yeast cells are produced. Okay, it continues to produce. So that will, in very short time, we will get the production of the yeast cells. So dear students, so we have understood now how the reproduction in the yeast cell takes place. Okay, let's go for the next type of reproduction, that is after budding, fragmentation. So what is fragmentation? It is very interesting. Let's see here. So we have seen a kind of slimy green patches in ponds or in any stagnant water bodies, where we see that one in ponds. Okay, so near the water bodies such as ponds, rivers, and stagnant water bodies. Stagnant water bodies means under any place where the water continuously flows, that is called stagnant water bodies. There we will find these slim patches of green. Okay, so these are called algae. So what are they called? They are called algae. We call them as algae. The green patches which are found in the water bodies are called algae. Okay, so when water and nutrients are available, so when the water and nutrients are available in a huge quantity, the algae grows and multiply rapidly. Yes, what happens here? When sufficient amount of water and nutrients are available, so immediately the algae start growing and it multiply rapidly. It multiplies rapidly in very short time. Rapidly means in very short time, multiplying, doubling their numbers. By which method? Means by a method called fragmentation. By fragmentation method, they multiply rapidly and they grow their numbers into double. Okay, that is called as multiply rapidly. Okay, so by which method? By a fragmentation method. So an alga breaks up into two or more fragments. One alga body breaks up and form two new fragments. Here you can see two new fragments are formed here, breaks up into two new fragments. Okay, so these fragments are of pieces. Okay, so these fragments are pieces grow into new individuals. Now see, this is a parent body. Okay, what you can see here, this is a parent body. Okay, so this splits, breaks up into two pieces. Okay, breaks up into two fragments. So this each fragment grows into a new plant. Each fragment grows into a new individual. Okay, that also becomes a new individual. Okay, so this is what the example you have to remember here. Okay, so the process continues. Again this would breaks up and grows into new individual. This breaks up and grows into new individual. Like that process continues. Okay, so they immediately, in very short period of time, they cover a large area. Okay, in a very short period of time, if this process continues, fragmentation process, they cover a large area of place in a very short period of time. So dear students, you can understand now fragmentation in Spirogyra or algae. So for algae, there is one more name called as Spirogyra. It is a scientific name. So they reproduce by fragmentation method. They split into many pieces and each fragment develop into new individual. So dear students, let me stop here. I hope you understood the budding process as well as fragmentation, and let me continue the remaining part of the lesson in the next class. Thank you and have a nice day.